Hi there, thanks for tuning in. I wanted to talk to you all about the 12-month journey, the project that is my heart and soul, my absolute gift to humanity. I created the 12-month journey out of a lot of trial and error from my own personal experience and from sitting with women for over a decade, listening to their stories, listening to their pain, trying to understand them at such a deep level when nobody else could. Through the different phases of how I wanted to serve my clients, I found some recipes that worked. And I felt this incredible desire to be able to offer them the skills and the awakenings that I'd had through my training and through all of the mentors and coaches and teachers over the years that had changed my life. When you sit with people for hours and hours, over and over again, over multiple years, you learn to understand the patterns and the threads in their stories. And although the details might change and although the circumstances might seem a little bit personal, the greatest understanding is that we're actually all going through something very similar. And I really wanted to start to solve some of the problems I saw in my community. Women were coming to me restless, isolated, lonely, lacking confidence, and mysteriously looking for this thing that we called purpose. Now, the disheartening failure, it seems, is building a life that you thought was going to light you up, that you thought was going to be your everything, and noticing that something is still missing. It can be incredibly daunting for a woman to sit in front of another and admit that to herself. But as we peeled back the layers and as we did clearing after clearing and we really understood what was at the heart of the problem, every single one started to tell me that they truly believed they were here for something more. They were here to make impact. They were here to be more than just what they were. They were here to be more than just working for someone else, paying the bills, being a good partner, or even a good mum. They felt it inside their bodies. And they didn't know how to wake up to it. They didn't know how to unleash it. They didn't know how to emerge. So after sitting with people for so many years, one-on-one, using all of my skills from Chinese medicine to coaching, to spirituality, to shamanism, I began to find these threads and I began to find ways to surround these women in such a beautiful support network that they changed and evolved according to their nervous systems. So they changed sustainably and healthily and through a sense of well-being. It wasn't a jolt awake. It wasn't leave everything behind. It wasn't chaos anymore. And I remember starting shamanic training with so many people, one-on-one, in groups, in living rooms, in my own living room. I would go anywhere to where these skills needed to be absorbed, and I would give as much as possible to allow women to understand that the life that they've been looking for is in their reach. We just have to do it in a way that's sustainable, and we have to do it in the right environment. Otherwise, we run the risk of losing confidence, becoming more lonely, and not even believing in this thing called purpose. I remember finding one of my clients while doing a workshop at a festival, and I could tell she was resonating with the information for the steady stream of tears that were running down her face. I spent some time with her afterwards, and she told me about her story and she told me about her life currently. And I could help her diagnose where she was. We both decided that she was in the dark night of the soul, that she was meant to feel depressed, anxious, confused, lost. It's part of the process. And I often, through the magic of the universe, find women at this place where they can no longer hold together the life that they built up for themselves. And in the transformational process, there's always death and rebirth. And she was right there. And I felt this glimmer of hope because I said, look, I have a program that I've been crafting for so many years. And I know that I can pull you out of the dark night of the soul and into your new life, and you don't have to lose everything. You will have to make some changes, but I assure you on the other side, you will feel recharged and you will feel clear about the pathway forward. And that will start to drown out your fear. We have to move on from the old, what doesn't resonate anymore, otherwise we'll get stuck. And as she progressed through the program over the 12 months, we saw plenty of ups and downs and lots of confusion, but something in her settled. And that elusive thing that we called purpose showed up. It was, I know how I can be of service. I know what doesn't resonate to that anymore. I know what I have to let go of. And I'm pretty capable and clear of moving forward with the right systems, the right support, and the right people around me. And that for me was such a win. She's currently building a thriving business online and helping many, many other women do the same thing. Another client came to me, not really knowing why she was drawn towards this very strange thing called shamanism, but something resonated for her. She came from a remote community, so she had to fly in and out for retreats. And when I first started working with her, she was cold, she was standoffish, and she literally said to me in the onboarding session, "Heather, I'm happy to be here, but don't think I'm going to be sharing in a group. That's not going to happen." And I said, "That's totally fine. I want you to participate in a way that feels right to you." It was only 6 or 7 months later that she was engaged in the group. She was telling her story. There were even emotions in her voice. She was cracking. She was being vulnerable. But the most beautiful thing came of that was we saw her and her potential. And then not long after, as we cracked through all those walls and all those masks and that tough persona, we saw this beautiful offering of just wanting to help people and wanting to be of service and wanting to have more in her life. And her entire peer group were cheerleading her and supporting her and reminding her of what they saw, which is the potential to help and serve so many more people, and that they were going to back her up. And it was such a huge success that we sat with her as she kept on moving through these awakenings and through these epiphanies to really see herself shine. One more story before I tell you about the program. Another beautiful woman came to me, and when I started working with her, she had multiple medicated diseases. She had been given some really life-threatening diagnoses. And for me, it was just a complex puzzle that we had to get through bit by bit. The first clearing that we facilitated in a group environment really had her integrating for many days. It was a big experience for her. And we kept her in such support and such love so that her nervous system could adjust in her own time. And watching her over the weeks and the months that followed, we saw this incredible power come through. And the things that she needed to voice and admit in the group were surrounded in love. And nothing was threatening to us. We identified that most of her energy and most of her resources are going towards helping relatives and friends that really didn't deserve her help, and nothing was left in the basket for her. So as we slowly started shifting perspective and she slowly realized what healthy and safe, supportive relationships looked like, we saw that power show up. And I think the important part of that was when her power showed up and it was palpable in the room, nobody looked away. The entire group said, "Thank goodness. We love seeing you like this. We've been waiting for this moment." And then to see the power and for it to be recognized, a perspective shift happened in her life that she knew that that was healthy for her now. She knew that There were people out there that wouldn't shy away from her power and wouldn't drain her resources just because they hadn't looked after their own lives. And we saw this creative fire show up, which really says, I know that I can dedicate my life to more than just looking after other people that don't deserve it, and more than just staying small and isolating myself because of that. And she's now moving on to creative projects that will create impact in the world, that will really send a ripple effect out. And we're so very proud of her. So the 12-month journey, I've crafted, refined, and really given my best to make it a journey that facilitates a transformation in women that is profound, sustainable, and safe, so that they can open their eyes to how life could be when it is sovereign, ruled by intuition and their own value system, so they can be creatively dynamic in the world without sacrificing their energy, their time and money to things that are just out of obligation. And why this program is different is because we intentionally put you in an aligned peer group. Everyone in that group is filtered and screened so that they're perfectly vibrating at the same rate. We take a long time to facilitate the training that'll open them up slowly and watch their nervous system reset and readjust along the way, making spiritual practice safe for the body. We hold very important containers and boundaries on site when people are together. We hold the value system around, let's be awesome individuals together. Let's not compete. Let's take responsibility for our own triggers. Let's make sure that the energy is always safe. Let's be in charge of our own resources while still supporting and giving, so that we don't get into power dynamics and we don't end up in high school dynamics or mother-daughter dynamics that haven't been healed yet. So that when people show up to our containers, they're not only grounded, but they're doing their best to stay in alignment with those strong boundaries that we put in place. And we serve our individuals, even when they're upset, even when things are hard, even when they don't want to show up. The support that we have around the 12-month journey is in the structures, in the community portal, in the way that we show up to them on site. We have an on-site team, an online team, all understanding what the value systems of Ankara is, because we are dedicated to women getting through their transformation and discovering who they are, what they want to do in the world, and the changes they need to make. And there's no rules, there's no restrictions. It's really, we'll support you to be the best version of yourselves possible. And then we'll cheerlead the actions you take in alignment with your higher self. And there's a whole team vibrating and ready to facilitate that for all of our participants. We go through 4 modules of training. And as I said, we split them up over the 12-month period so that we're having these deep dives into these really beautiful multidimensional conversations about how to become radically responsible for our own lives and setting ourselves up so that our minds and bodies are ready for the shamanic path. The shamanic path brings in a strong force where we will start navigating the spiritual realms and bringing in guides from a place of grounded practical action. And we'll do it slowly and over time, developing our intuitive capacity for what is possible. Along the way, we're also learning tools, tricks, and techniques that you can use on yourself and on your loved ones at all times. Everything is flexible. And there's different learning styles and different learning environments that we want to honor. Some people work well by audio learning, by written learning. We try and be as flexible and adaptive as possible because no one way is right. It's a feminine space, so we want to make sure that you're comfortable to absorb the information, and we'll do whatever it takes to facilitate that. This program is really designed for the women that know in their hearts that something more is there. They were born to do something that could really serve the world, that could create impact in their communities. They feel it in their bodies. And we can facilitate the transformation, but hold you in a structure and in a network that helps you oscillate before you really understand what confidence in managing yourself in this new vibration really looks like. And Ankara wants to be with you for as long as it takes for you to thrive and stabilize. We're not just in it for the 12 months. We have ongoing support systems, opportunities from our leaders, and many people end up transitioning into a place within the company, or at least part of a referral network where we can still be that supportive network for emerging business, for collaborations, for ways that we can cheerlead through structures the incredible task of being of service and being out in the world with your own medicine, with your own gifts unique to you. This program's not really for anyone that doesn't feel that sense of, I could be here for something more. And if you're not willing to put in the work, if you're not willing to dedicate at least a year of your time, energy, and money towards your own growth, your own transformation, then the program really isn't for you. We are dedicated to the women that'll show up, that'll give themselves the best shot at understanding, where is my confidence and my purpose? When can I release those resources? How beautiful can this be? And who do I need around me to thrive and to go further than I even dreamed of? We've even managed to craft 2 pathways for the 12-month journey. One is for those that want to fly in for on-site retreats so we can be fully immersed in the information. But for others that can't make it, we've created an online version, still with the same modules, still with supportive structures, with accountability, with an online portal, with monthly coaching, all sorts of challenges to keep you disciplined in habit forming along the way, so that these skills aren't lost because someone lives too far away. And those 2 pathways call to women at different times. It really depends on, is the time right? Are you becoming so uncomfortable in your restlessness that you know you have to take the risk and take the leap? And online facilitates a really powerful transformation, but can keep you steady and in your own environment so that you can move through information in your own way. And most of the time, women's intuition, they know which pathway calls to them. And as we get closer to the end of the year, we know that inside there's this risk that if we don't change anything, we're going to recreate the same chaos and same frustration and stagnation that this year provided. So the 12-month journey is my gift to humanity. It's my gift to the women in my community that know they were here for more. And knowing that they don't have to do it alone, they can find the connection, they can find the depth, the purpose and the confidence to do what calls to them in this lifetime. Thank you so much for listening.
Hi, my name's Emma. I'm a visual communicator and I have been working with Ankara for 8 months now. I started, this year I'm working with the team on a 12-month journey, which includes 4 modules, both online and in person. I'm finding that this is definitely the greatest investment that I've made to my life into creating really big change. I've always lived my life believing I've got, I guess, a level of intuition, but I didn't always trust it. And so I jumped onto the Ankara journey as a way to understand myself better. And through that, I've created some really beautiful, strong boundaries that have changed the relationships that I have with people around me, the relationships that I have with my workplace, and really the relationship I have to myself. And through the program, I have developed just a whole new sense of trust in myself and the people around me. And I think that this journey is really just beginning. This is building the foundations for something much, much bigger. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what's next. Cheers.
My name is Christy, and I have joined the Ankara team. I actually joined, it's nearly a year now. I did number 4 first and then signed up for the 12-month journey. It is a shamanism course. You don't have to be a psychic or think that you're an empath or even anything like that to come along. Even in module 1, I just can't believe how much what I've learnt from module 1 has taught me about my health. I started the course because I was unhealthy and in a place that was not good for me or my loved ones, and I took time out to put myself first, and it's the best thing I've ever done. I am not personally a rich person, but I found a way to make it happen, and I think that anyone who has got any questions about anything in life, each module, it just grows and it touches on everything. And the people I've met, it's like a small little community, and it's just blown my mind. I've changed so much, and I couldn't be more grateful to the girls, Heather and the team.
Before the 12-month journey with Ankara, I felt like I was disappearing in my life. I felt like I had lost myself and I didn't know who I was or what I wanted to do, but it did feel wrong. It didn't feel like I belonged anywhere and like I was constantly running out of time. And what made me say yes to the program was this feeling that I had to try something radically different. I had to step outside of the box that I'd grown in. And what I experienced on that journey was a profound level of self-awareness, self-understanding, and connection to the depths of who I was, so that I could start to understand and navigate that and bring it into the world, which radically changed my life. So who I am now because of that journey is a business owner. I am devoted in my practice to myself, to my guides. I understand who I am. I have a voice of confidence, and I am striving towards something greater than I ever had the dreams of earlier in my life. And so I would say, if you're considering this journey and you're not sure if it's right for you, then go for it. If there's something deeper inside you that feels like it's calling, this is the most incredible connection to self and radical self-responsibility that I've ever experienced. So I would say, go for it.